Hi, my name's Graham and I'm a Senior Officer at Arts Council England. National Lottery Project Grants is our fund open to individual artists and creatives and community and cultural organisations to deliver arts, museums and libraries projects. It can now also support those who've been affected by COVID-19 and who need time and money to reset and stabilise or to think and plan. This is all made possible thanks to funding from national lottery players. The programme reopens on the 22nd of July 2020 with some small but important changes that will help us to continue to support the sector in the best way that we can. We expect these to be in place until April 2021 when we'll make further updates to the programme. Here are some of the key changes that you need to be aware of. We understand that for many, securing additional match funding is going to be really difficult at the moment. So we're temporarily removing the requirement for a minimum of 10% match funding from other sources. This means that you can apply even if you have no money from other sources such as other grants, other funders, bar sales, ticket sales, merchandise and things like that. We would recommend trying to attract funding from other sources if you can, but it's no longer mandatory and you won't be disadvantaged for not having any. If you receive any services or goods for free or at a reduced rate, you can include the value of this in your budget as what's called supporting kind. This shows that other people are supportive of what you're doing and it contributes towards any match funding that you might or might not have. In keeping with social distancing guidance, we know that you're going to be thinking about how your project or how your work might have to change to fit in with this new world. For example, a lot of face-to-face work like gigs, plays, workshops or other shows might no longer be physically possible. So we're expecting a lot of applications for digital type projects or for projects that give you time to think and to plan your next steps. For example, these could be about developing your creative work or finding new partnerships, working in new ways, or learning to work with technology, for example. It could be about kind of business development as well. So it could be adapting your business to the new world through planning, through consultancy, through mergers, through remodeling or research into how the market might have changed or the way that people engage with work might have changed. This way, we're making sure that we can give support to the people who really need it right now. At this point, it's important for us to tell you that we can't fund loss of earnings through this programme, but you can apply to fund your time as a freelance practitioner or for your employees or your collaborators for their time to carry out the project. If you are planning something like a show or a tour, we'll need to see evidence that you have considered the safety of both your audience as well as any creatives you're working with or your creative team or any other collaborators. And we'll need to see evidence also that what you want to do is realistic and that it can happen. So if your plan, for example, contradicts government guidelines or the venues you're heading to aren't 100% sure that they'll be open, then we might view this as a risk to the project and it might reduce the chances of you receiving funding. Unless you tell us about any measures that you or your partners are taking to mitigate these potential risks or to make sure that people are safe, then we won't know about it. So it's important to include as much detail as possible in your application. The key message here is to always put safety first if planning work with an audience or with other collaborators. If it doesn't seem feasible at the moment, then you might need to reconsider the application or maybe take a little longer to do some work on making sure that it's as safe and as risk averse as it can be. We know that things are particularly hard for freelancers and for small businesses at the minute. So during this time, we're going to be prioritising individuals and independent organisations. We'll also be using a set of 5 equality objectives to help us prioritise applications from or that serve communities who've been most impacted by the pandemic or by social injustice or kind of wider economic repercussions. We're expecting a lot of applications and we won't be able to fund everyone that applies first time. But if you are unsuccessful, you can always apply again. That's the beauty of this open program format. It has no deadlines, it has no rounds. If you are unsuccessful, you can resubmit an application as many times as you like. Bear in mind though that you can only have one application under consideration at any time. Finally, we're adding in just one very simple multiple choice question to our application form, where you can tell us which of the three outcomes from our new strategy, Let's Create, that your project most aligns with. These are creative people, cultural communities, and a creative and cultural country. You can tick one, two, or all three of these depending on what type of project it is that you're doing. If you'd like to find out more about our strategy and the outcomes, head over to artscouncil.org.uk/Let's Create. Public libraries will now be able to apply for activity that delivers against any of the four universal library offers. These are culture and creativity, reading, information and digital, and health and wellbeing. If you want to find out more about the universal offers, check out the updated libraries information sheet on our website. We've also expanded the types of museums that can apply to project grants and the work that they can apply for, particularly surrounding subject specialist networks. So if you are an SSN or you want to find out more about this, check out the updated museums information sheet on our website. Now, we know that we're working in uncertain times at the moment, and April 2021 seems a long way off, and things are likely to change in that time. So if the world changes, we will too. And, if we need to make updates to this program, then we'll do that. But we will let you know first. Keeping the amazing sector that we serve afloat in these challenging times is our number one priority. So we are working with government, with other organisations, with artists and creatives to make sure that we do whatever we can to help. So if you do have any questions, feel free to get in touch with our customer services team. You can get them by email at enquiries@artscouncil.org.uk. Thanks, stay safe, and good luck with your application.